Shut up and sit down.
Hey, and welcome to the Freja MMA podcast. Join us in our discussion about the beautiful sport which is mixed martial arts.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Freja MMA podcast. Today we are speaking with Irman Smajic, who has been in the news run a bit recently because of his upcoming grudge match with Nermin Hajdarpasic. I hope I said that right. I don't want him after me. We broke the news quite recently that he has torn his meniscus and is out of his bout in Levels Fighting League, I think it's called, in Amsterdam. But he is hopeful and is saying that he will be there in Fight Club Rush 10 to face off with who some people are calling his arch nemesis. We're talking a bit about his road to recovery, why he hasn't been on the MMA scene for a while, and what he really thinks about this bout. So here is the interview with the People's Champ, Irman Smajic. So, Irman, last time we spoke was at Fight Club Rush 9 after the heavyweight bout, obviously. Things don't always go your way, I've seen. Unfortunately, you're injured and out of this fight that's going to be happening in Holland. Let's just talk a bit about, first of all, this upcoming fight at Fight Club Rush. As far as everyone knows, it's still on. Is that correct?
Yeah, of course.
That's great to hear. So there was this big head-to-head that happened that Fight Club Rush has put on. And a lot of questions were answered, but some things were still a bit here and there kind of thing. How did this all start from your perspective?
Honestly, I don't know, because kind of I saw the fight between him and the Black Viking, and wasn't more. I texted Jürgen about nice to having a heavyweight. Tell me, I have to I was thinking more about training, so maybe we can help each other to train or something. Nothing more than that. And I think he misunderstood me. So he started calling me out because he thought I want to fight him, and I was like, "Bro, you're 1-0. I don't have nothing. Why should I want to have that fight? Because it's not interested." And I was just going on, and it got quiet for a while. Then they booked my last opponent, Fatih Aktaş, from Austria.
Mm-hmm.
To fight him. Then I realized it's probably because he want to fight me. So then he got 2-0, and I had enough of it. So it's, if you want to fight, let's fight then. Honestly, he's from my neighborhood, from the same country as I am, so almost the same country, from former Yugoslavia. So wasn't my first choice of fighter. But now when it's on, why not? Let's go.
Yeah, because we saw from the head-to-head that Fight Club Rush has done that it does seem to have a bit of animosity between each other. And from what I've seen with your previous fights, that has never been a case. Would you say that you are going into this a bit differently?
Honestly, until a week ago, I didn't think about it that much in this kind of way. I always had a good relation with my opponents before, under, and after also. After a fight, so it's kind of new to me to be call out on this name calling shit and everything. That's not my way to go. But what should I do? I'm looking for a fight. I'm going to prepare myself like I used to. I try to be the best Irman I can for that day. Do my camp and do what I can to shut his big mouth.
So we'll talk a bit about also, you've been away from the scene for quite a bit. Let's just give the viewers
Yeah.
of a view of why that was.
Yeah, everything started like I had a fight 1st August last year. And after that fight, I flew down to Spain to help Juan Espina, the guy that won the Ultimate Fighter. He was in Stockholm and he needed help for his upcoming fight in Abu Dhabi. So I went down to help him, and something happened with my right leg. So now after a while, said it's a kind of spider bite I got. So it was really, really. I was 6 hours. I think they talked about for an amputation of my right leg. So I had a big wound, and I was maybe like a month down in. No, I think 3 weeks down in Spain. Then they flew me back to Sweden, and I had pretty much problems with it for like 6, 8 months. So it was a really, really hard time with my leg. So going from like winning a co-main event in Brave to like sitting in a hospital in Spain wasn't like my how I thought it would be. So this got me pretty hard, both mentally and physically. So I had a pretty hard time to go back and get back in the cage with the corona and everything around it. But when everything was done, like I think in April or something, I got back. Unfortunately, I had maybe like 2, 3, 4 good training weeks before my knees like gave up kind of. So I found a clinic in Stockholm called Arthro Center. So they examined my knees and everything. And they said I had like problems with the knees. I had some problems with like joints in it and meniscus and things like that. So I did 2 operations of my knees in 2 weeks. So I kind of felt that I couldn't continue because my knees were pretty wobbly. I didn't feel stable. So I operated them, and I think it was like, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, I think. You can see on my Instagram when I did it. So I operated that, and it felt really good. Maybe 6 or 8 weeks ago. And I started training. I recovered really good, and everything felt really, really good. So I booked myself in for 2 fights. I got first fight in Amsterdam now the 10th. And when Slatko called me about this other fight, I told him about that I have a fight in Amsterdam. So he said it's 6 weeks between. So it was okay if I booked the next fight. So we did it. So this Friday, something happened for actually last training and the last round. I did a round with Kamzat, and then I did a last round with the guy from Macedonia. And something happened with my knee, just kind of didn't pop, but it twisted. So I had extremely much pain. So they took me to hospital and to a doctor who examined it and said it's probably a meniscus, but we don't know if it's torn off. But things were I maybe started a little bit too early with going back to that kind of hard training, going into a camp. So I just need to like really take care of it for 2 weeks so straighten the muscle ups around it and think about how I'm gonna put up my camp. So now it's resting for maybe 2 weeks before I do last 5-6 weeks before the fight with Nermin. It's kind of how I plan it now.
And I know that you're a very honest guy to your faults and to your pros kind of thing. And I know that you say that you did start quite late in this MMA journey, and I guess a long time away from it, you kind of feel like you need to get back in there quite quickly kind of thing. So is that the reason why you booked 2 fights and maybe jumped in a bit too early for the first one?
I think it's spot on. Yeah, because I felt like I maybe don't have time like all the other guys that are 25-year-old to wait for a fight. So when I got like 2 opportunities, of course I took them, and maybe push my body a little bit too much because I'm not the lightweight. So maybe it was a little bit too much. I know when the camp is going good and everything feels good, it was like kind of got sloppy in the end of the last day. It was like last training. It was like wrestling. I was like, it's gonna be good. So I was like jumping on one because the guy had one of my legs, and I was like jumping on the other one, and just step bad. So some things twisted, and maybe a little bit too tired, or maybe a little bit too sloppy.
Would you say
So
that, because I think everyone has seen this head to head now, if you haven't, check it out. There is a bit back and forth with Nermin saying that even if you're injured, you need to take the fight. Do you have that kind of pressure behind you when you're looking towards this fight?
I don't have any pressure on me. He need to have pressure on me. He's meeting a world champ, and he have to be thinking about it. Just lots of gibberish. He's talking. He's like blah blah blah. Honestly, I never been up to that. Like people are gonna say this, people are gonna say that. Number one, my health is number one. So I'm not gonna risk anything to being stupid, because to fight him, who is he? For me, he's actually nobody. Of course, it's maybe a fun couple of days for like having a grudge and things like that. But honestly, my health is the most important thing in my life. So, but of course, I'm gonna maybe do it a little bit smarter this time to last the whole camp and have a maybe. It's not maybe. I have to have a better rehab to be in the best one and be in best shape that I can for that fight.
I guess as well.
To follow.
Sorry, excuse me. What did you say?
To follow our plan.
I guess as well, with the whole build up of this fight, I mean, there has been words on social media. There was the cage face off and everything. The eyes watching, excuse me, the eyes watching is always good for MMA fighter. Are you feeling a bit of that as well?
Honestly, all publicity is not a good publicity. I think so, because I really don't like being a bad guy in any kind of way. But in this case, I really need to shut that guy down. So because I had enough of it in one kind of way, but I really don't want it to affect me in any bad kind of way. So I'm just gonna try to concentrate at what I can do and how I can do the best camp, and what game plan I'm gonna have to just run over this guy.
In the chat that you had, you were saying about, you want MMA to be recognized as a sport and you want it to be in the Olympics and things like that. Do you feel like Nermin's image gives a bad way of seeing MMA, or could you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, of course. I hate that kind of, because I really don't like that way. Like he's trying to be kind of bad guy, blah blah. You fight, we do this. People are paying for, like, for me, according to me, just for stupid people, because we're fighting all the whole world and whole game is fighting to be in a recognized sport. The sport that is like they have real athletes. They have like people that are training 8 to 10 times a day, that are putting in the hard work. And of course, when somebody's like, "No, I don't like to train. I'm just I like to punch people in the face," it's like taking us back 25 years to UFC number 2, 1 and 2, because when you had like guy stepping in with one glove and one shoe, or blah blah blah, all that shit. He's taking the I don't know how to say athleticism, or the sport out of it. He sees like a fight. I really don't want to see it as a fight. For me, it's a sport, and I really want to MMA to being a big sport, so everybody. I may be a pioneer in 50 years, when people are talking about us. It's gonna be like, this was the pioneers of our sport in Sweden. That's what is maybe one of the biggest sports in the world in maybe 50 years or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm super looking forward to the day when we can see some sort of MMA on a super main stage like the Olympics as well. I think we share the same dream there.
It's coming. It's coming. Believe me. we're on the way.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to keep you any longer. You have to go and rehab your stuff. I wish you a very speedy recovery, and I can't wait for this fight.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling, and have a good day. Take care of yourself. But hopefully we see you in Västerås.
Yeah, hopefully.
Or maybe earlier.
Yeah, it will be a good one.
Take care.
All right. Thank you, man.
Yeah, have a good
Bye
one.
bye.